Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the third week of organizational behavior. This is Mark Evans, your instructor, and I want to give you a few updates here on the third week. Hopefully by now most of you are getting your textbooks in and starting to work on the process of catching up in class. We give you a little more time before we started considering some of the work late, and hopefully that helps. I want to go over kind of some guidelines for you one more time as I see different problems and opportunities in our class. Each week our class works basically the same way. There are discussion posts that you participate in, responses to those discussion posts, and you should be following the guidelines for discussion posts in terms of minimum word counts, responding to 2 students, using references and things like that so that you get the highest grade possible. So don't forget that. I know there's an urge to do the minimum amount of work you got to do to get by, but I urge you to get the most out of the class that you can and participate fully in order to get the best grade possible. After you get through the discussion posts and responses to other students, there are assignments that you turn in, and a lot of those have been looking very good. Again, I would encourage you to fully discuss the topic so that you can get the best grade possible. Likewise, quizzes each week which come from the textbook, and again I want to remind you that small answers get small grades, I like to say. So if you have just 1 and 2 word responses even on the quizzes, you will probably lose points on some of those things. When we say define or discuss or that sort of thing in the quizzes, that's exactly what we mean. It doesn't mean just simply list and don't do anything else. So if you see define, if you see discuss, examine, things like that, we're wanting to see you engage and talk about the subject. Again, you don't have to write long papers and long responses, but you should fully answer the questions, okay? So be careful with those things in all 3 of those areas: the discussion posts, assignments, and on the quizzes. Coming up here in week 3, you've got something new thrown at you that a lot of students have seen and a lot of students haven't seen before. That's the annotated bibliography. The annotated bibliography, I like to call it a glorified book report. What you're going to do is you're going to think about the subject that you want to write about in week 8. You're going to pick that subject based on something out of the textbook, one of the business topics that we're discussing, and you're going to go out and you're going to find 3 references. Okay, and they should come from the American National Library. Online should come from Google Scholar. Wikipedia, places like that don't count, and you'll lose points for those. So you find 3 articles basically on the subject that you want to talk about or what you're going to write about in week 8, and you put in the bibliography and you put in the source, and then you write what I would call a small book report, a paragraph or 2, summarizing what that article talks about. You're going to do that for all 3 articles. And when you do that, you turn it in for a grade, but that's going to serve as the basis for your research paper in week 8. In other words, if you do a really good job on the annotated bibliography, the research paper is almost written because you've already collected all the information and summarized that information, and then it's not that much more to do to get a research paper done. So I understand that it may be something new for you. You can ask questions, obviously. There's a sample Microsoft Word document I put in week 3 showing you exactly what an annotated bibliography is, and there's also a YouTube video there for you to see what that is. Again, I know it sounds like all I want you to do is to work and work hard. I get that, but this is college. You paid a lot of money to get a good education, and I hope that this class will be worth that. So take a look at the annotated bibliography. What I tell folks is the research paper is a lot easier if you do a good job on the bibliography. Okay? So if you got questions on that, let me know. And this is week 3, I believe. So just a couple of more things. We got Thanksgiving coming up, but our classes will continue as usual. Hope you do have a good Thanksgiving and a safe one at that. The last thing I wanted to mention is late work, okay? Just to clarify a couple things there. The discussion posts, if you're late on discussion posts, they aren't accepted. In fact, the system actually turns them off at midnight on Saturday night. So there's no making up discussion posts, because once the class goes on to the next week, you can't really go back and discuss. So it's school policy that discussions have to be done and responses to others have to be done the week that they're due. However, we do have a late work policy as far as the assignments and the quizzes and so forth. So look at that. You do get the chance to make those up. We've been a little more lenient with the missing books and things. But if you see a 0 or you see an F there or that kind of thing, you do have the opportunity to make those up, okay? So if you got any questions, let me know. I'll see you in class.